Welcome back to Hardware Unboxed. It's time for our monthly GPU pricing update, a series which I was really hoping wouldn't still be relevant in the middle of 2023. But here we are, we've had plenty of new graphics card releases and pricing is still a major issue for a number of shoppers. So in today's update, I'll be talking about how to get a great deal on a particular GPU you might be eyeing off, the latest GPU releases, and of course, more pricing data. But before we get to all of that,
today's sponsor spot is brought to you by Hetzner. With hundreds of thousands of servers spread across several locations, Hetzner is one of the biggest European web hosts and data center operators. With their strong focus on sustainability, they offer high-performance dedicated servers in their server auction. There you can find different kinds of servers, even configured ones, at incredibly low prices without a setup fee or any minimum contract period. So you can save money while acting very sustainable. Hetzner offers a vast range of server products at fantastic prices, so for more information, please check the link in the video description.
Since our previous GPU pricing update, there have been two new graphics card releases, both from NVIDIA. More recently, the GeForce RTX 4060 Ti 16GB that launched just a couple of days ago, which is kind of too soon to talk about sales figures. It's also apparently too soon to talk about performance and value because NVIDIA decided not to run a review program for this model, the first GPU of their 40 series not to be sampled. While it's always nice to receive review samples as it makes the process a lot easier, we're not exactly entitled to them, and NVIDIA can make whatever decision they want about review programs they run, but it's not exactly a great expression of confidence in the product. Typically, if a company doesn't want something reviewed or doesn't want reviews available when the product goes on sale, there's issues with said product. Otherwise, you'd be trying to tell everyone how good it is so then they go out and buy it. It's also a bit of a surprising move given NVIDIA did run a review program for the poorly received RTX 4060 Ti 8GB model and more recently the RTX 4060 as well. In any case, you should see our thoughts on the 16GB card in the next few days. We have bought one. It cost a stupid amount of money in Australia, but you can expect to see quite a few VRAM comparisons with this model compared to the 8GB model. Certainly excited to see what Steve does there. The RTX 4060 also launched a few weeks ago, and like most launches of the past year, has done little to shake up the graphics card market. The card itself didn't receive the best reviews given it offered mediocre value compared to existing models in the market from both AMD and NVIDIA, and also for not performing all that impressively compared to the RTX 3060 and RX 7600. As you would expect, this has kind of led to mediocre sales. I really don't have a lot to say about the RTX 4060 and how it's going in the market. Pretty much every GPU launched this generation, with the exception of the very highest end models, has only received lukewarm interest from buyers. People just aren't rushing out to buy these new graphics cards right now, and I don't blame them. They just aren't that compelling. It'll be interesting to see how it fares over time. Some models like the RTX 4070 have picked up a bit since their initial release. Others have stayed at a pretty steady low rate of interest. What's been much more interesting recently is seeing the amount of flash sales for new and older graphics cards. Nothing says these GPUs really aren't selling well better than seeing quite significant discounts just weeks after they hit the market. Right now, I believe that keeping a very close eye on the market and buying a GPU during one of these flash sales is the best way to upgrade your GPU. For many models, I just wouldn't consider them good value unless you can get a flash sale type of price. Here's a recap of some of the pricing moves that have just been occurring this month in July, and a huge shout out to VideoCardz for consistently reporting on these. It's a great way to keep customers informed. Anyway, back on July 4th, we saw GeForce RTX 4060 models drop to €310 just a week or so after launch, down from its MSRP of €330. That pricing has continued through to now, with the cheapest RTX 4060 at the same retailer quoted in the article, so Mindfactory, now being priced at €306. Nothing crazy considering the US MSRP of $300, but a bit of good progress on pricing. Similarly, Spanish retailer Coolmod were offering the RTX 4060 Ti for €400, down from a €450 MSRP, as well as the RX 7600 for €260, down from a €300 MSRP. That RTX 4060 Ti deal has since expired, but you can still get them for €420, so below the MSRP. The RX 7600 though, even today, you can still get one for €260, so there's no point paying MSRP prices for that sort of product now or ever. On Newegg in early July, the RTX 4080 was available briefly for $1,000 US after applying a $100 coupon code at the checkout. Today, that model has jumped back up to $1,200, with the absolute cheapest models right now going for $1,140. Neither of those current prices are super compelling, so I'd absolutely wait for the next $1,000 flash sale if I was interested in that model. And we now have evidence that that pricing is possible. Honestly, the RTX 4080 should be priced no higher than $1,000 US all of the time anyway, so not just during sales, as the MSRP is far too high, especially compared to the RX 7900 XTX, which is currently available for $940. Speaking of the 7900 XTX, this Radeon GPU was available for just $800 briefly on Newegg about a week ago. Again, right now it's back up to $940 US, which is below the $1,000 MSRP, but $800 for that card is an excellent price, so anyone that was able to grab one during the flash sale got a great deal. At $940 US, it's okay, not amazing, so I'd definitely wait for the next sale to jump on board, and if AMD can price it at $800 for a longer period of time, I'd expect it to fly off shelves. At that price, it would be going head-to-head with Nvidia's GeForce RTX 4070 Ti, and in our testing, the XTX is 20 to 30% faster, depending on the resolution. Also, about a week ago, Newegg were offering the RTX 4060 Ti 8GB model for as low as $335, with several other models priced around $350 US. That's a better price than its $400 MSRP, though in our opinion, it is still too expensive for what is being offered. We don't think anyone should pay more than $300 for the performance and VRAM it provides. But again, it does show that GPU vendors are willing to reduce prices to get these cards out the door. I don't think it will be long until flash sales have this thing priced at or below $300, although right now the cheapest models are back up at the disgusting $400 launch price, which is definitely do not buy territory. And finally, we also saw the Intel Arc A750 drop to as low as $180, which is certainly a very compelling price for that GPU. Right now, it is back up at $250, but for $180, that's a great price, given it does typically outperform the RTX 3060, which costs $260, and offers similar performance to the RX 6650 XT at $240. So that sort of price is definitely a sweet spot for an Intel GPU, so hopefully pricing drops back down at some point. We're only 3 weeks into July and have already seen half a dozen discounts. Of course, some of these have been related to major sales events like Amazon Prime Day, but over the last few months, there's been an increase in these short-run sales. For a lot of graphics cards, I just wouldn't consider buying something current generation unless it was on sale, and there's plenty of examples now where said sales do push these cards into a reasonable price range. You just have to keep on top of when these sales happen and jump on them ASAP. As for buying right now and looking at general pricing trends, really not much is happening outside of these sales. Nvidia's GeForce 40 series models are sitting at the MSRP with the exception of the RTX 4080, which is 6% below MSRP. Very few of these models are worth buying at these prices. I just ignore these for now and wait for a sale. AMD and Intel models are slowly coming down in price each month, although it does vary. The biggest reduction is the $50 drop for the Arc A770 8GB, now down at $280 US. AMD's high-end RX 7900 series have both fallen in price slightly as well, while the RX 7600 is unfortunately back up at its $270 MSRP, which just isn't worth considering. Older generation models are still a viable choice, and for Nvidia's mid-range and entry-level RTX 30 series, there still appears to be plenty of stock to go around. 4 of the 5 remaining models fell in price this month, the biggest of which being the RTX 3070 Ti, which now sits at $460, just $20 more than the RTX 3070. Most of these prices are set in such a way to clear out stock and ensure that buyers only have the sometimes worse value 40 series models to choose from, but until that stock clears, in my opinion, models like the RTX 3060 at $260 are definitely worth considering and would get my vote over the RTX 4060 at $300. On the AMD side of things, RX 6000 series pricing has remained flat or in some cases increased month on month. Supply for the RX 6600 XT in particular seems to be nearly exhausted at Newegg, though the faster 6650 XT is still in plentiful supply. At $240, the 6650 XT is still a standout choice, as it offers similar performance to the more expensive RX 7600 and RTX 4060, while also offering more than Nvidia's discounted RTX 3060. The RX 6600 is a great buy for entry-level gamers, although unfortunately for those after something around $300 to $400 US, the 6700 XT and 6750 XT are slightly more expensive this month compared to last. Hopefully those prices drop back down to near $300 soon, as they were very compelling choices around that mark. For used GPUs, Nvidia's GeForce 30 series is an interesting situation. If you're after a higher end model from the RTX 3080 and above, pricing has slightly increased month on month, but for models that are still available to purchase brand new, pricing in general has dropped slightly. Not exactly a huge difference though, and some models like the RTX 3060 are not discounted enough on the used market to consider compared to brand new models that have recently dropped in price. Pretty similar story on the AMD side of the market. You'll really have to pick and choose to see which models make sense to buy used. For example, the 6950 XT is only around $30 cheaper on average on the used market versus buying a card brand new. You just wouldn't buy one at that price on eBay. But the RX 6600 XT is comparatively well priced, as the 6600 XT new stock has been drying up lately. The 6500 XT data is skewed somewhat by what appears to be one seller getting rid of a dozen models for dirt cheap. No idea why someone would have so many of those cards, but anyway, they have bought them. As for older models, no real pricing movement for the RTX 20 series, though it is interesting to note the RTX 2080 Ti continues to be worth around 20% more used compared to the RTX 3070, which has similar performance. The GTX 16 series has become slightly cheaper with plentiful supply. Then we have the RX 5000 series, which has become slightly more expensive, perhaps due to these cards being ludicrously cheap in prior months considering the performance they offer. So there we have it for GPU pricing in July of 2023. As far as I see it, there's really only two choices that make sense right now if you're interested in buying a new graphics card. Either you wait for a flash sale for a current generation model, which seem to be increasing in frequency and tend to offer much more acceptable prices, or you grab something from the previous generation, especially in the lower parts of the market where supply is still strong and both AMD and Nvidia are desperately trying to clear out that stock. While pricing for some models has bounced around a bit lately, the general trend is that interest in GPUs is low and pricing is still heading downwards slightly. There are only a few GPUs left to launch to round out both AMD and Nvidia's product lineups, so we are still expecting some impact from these launches, but not heaps. Obviously, AMD has the chance to make a bigger impact as they are yet to launch any mid-range offerings. Current rumors are suggesting a late Q3 release for cards such as the RX 7700 and RX 7800. AMD could also do with a card priced near $200 that isn't a horrifically embarrassing launch like the RX 6500 XT, but we haven't heard much about plans there. Then on the Nvidia side, most of their lineup is looking complete with the exception of an RTX 4050 type product priced in the $200 to $250 range, hopefully more like $200. We're not expecting that sort of card to be compelling, as previous rumors suggested it would have just 6GB of VRAM, but I guess anything could happen. Nvidia also have room, I guess, for more higher end models if they really want to make them, such as an RTX 4080 Ti, RTX 4090 Ti. I guess we'll see what happens there. Anyway, that's it for this month's GPU pricing update. If you do appreciate these regular updates, then consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and supporting us on our Patreon or Floatplane accounts. Links to those are in the description below. You'll get access to some nice benefits like our upcoming monthly live stream. Definitely now's a good time to sign up if you want to see the monthly live stream, join in live, ask us some questions, and have a chat with us. Get our BTS videos, Discord community, lots of great stuff over there. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.